Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. So I am in my new sewing room, and while I'm still currently setting it up, I decided that I was going to do something a little different. So I have decided to make myself a mannequin Christmas tree, or a Christmas tree mannequin, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, I am probably about 5 to 10 years late to this trend. I think these started at around 2015. I'm not actually sure, so I'm not a full 10 years, but you know what, I'm close enough. So I'm not going to be using my regular mannequin because this mannequin right here I need for a project that I'm working on for next month. So I'm going to be using a mannequin that I've had in my stash for a while that I want to change into something in the future. But anyways, enough of that. I am going to be making mine based off of like an 18th century dress, because you know you can't get enough of 18th century. So that's the plans for today. Let's talk materials. I bought, I think, 16 9-foot long garlands from Michael's that I got for, I think they were 50% off. So I have bought those to create my tree. Now ideally I would have loved to use actual live greenery for this, but I had a very short time frame, so I ended up just going with the store-bought garland. If you look online, there is a couple different creations that actually use live greenery, and they are gorgeous. I will link them down below. So I have the garland. I also bought some 2-inch chicken wire, which I'm hoping will be okay. I wanted the smaller 1-inch chicken wire, but again, I was on a time frame and I couldn't find it in the size I wanted. So that is that. Now for the decorations for the tree, I'm going with a red and gold theme, which is going to be beautiful. I got some gold netting from Fabricland. This was in the discount section, so I think I got it for like $1 a meter. So I got a ton of it, and yeah. Probably going to use it to decorate throughout the rest of the house for anything that I don't use on the tree. I also have a ton of Christmas balls. So again, a red and gold theme. And then I have some bows and just dropping stuff all over the floor. So bows and like red and gold ribbon that I'm going to be using to trim this thing. So that's the materials for this project, and let's get to building this tree. This is where I'm planning on putting it. I'm just using this as a little reading nook right now, but for the next month and a half, it is going to be a mannequin. Okay. First things first, I need to make the skirt support, and this is 2-inch openings, 24 inches wide, and 25 feet long. To start things off, first I created a peigne looking form for either side of the mannequin to get the correct shape. Also, I apologize for all the flashing lights here, but that's what happens when you speed things up 10 times faster. And from there, I wrap the wire around the form and then use a zip tie to secure the top of the wire to make it fit the waist. I also added a second round of wire at the bottom to make the skirt slightly longer and wider. Alright, the wire frame is done, and it's really kind of hard to see because it's all backlit by the window. But yeah, now it's time to start putting on the garland. Now the garland required some major fluffing before I put it on the form, and each strand took roughly 8 minutes to fluff. So if you're doing this project for yourself, I definitely recommend turning on audiobook to help pass the time. Once I had prepared a few strands, I started zigzagging the garland over the skirt frame. Now I used 12 of these in total for the skirt, but I think I could have actually used one more because there were a couple small gaps in the skirt. But it isn't extremely noticeable, and the gaps were mostly at the back. Once the skirt was done, I then created the sleeves for the gown using one garland. And used another strand of garland for the bodice. Now I made the bodice by just wrapping it around the mannequin a few times and then strategically bending the foliage around the body. And then I also twisted the bodice greenery and the sleeve greenery together to keep everything in place. It is day 3 of this project, and I put the lights on last night, and I will show you what those look like in the reveal. But now it's time to start decorating. Okay, so for trimming, I have created a stomacher pattern, and I'm using my sleeve decoration pattern from my Robe La Francaise from 2018. Oh, was it really that long ago? That's scary. Okay, so that I'm going to be using for the stomacher and the sleeve decorations. And if you want the pattern, it's literally a pattern from the American Duchess book. So that is what I'm using. I think the plan is I want to use some of this to kind of create like a swag across the front. I want to do it so it looks nice and not tacky, but it might just end up looking tacky, but we will see. So that's the plan. The outside of the skirt is probably just going to stay how it is. I might add some like swirly tinsel stuff, but I don't want to go too overboard on this. I want it to look classy, if it can look classy with tinsel all over it. So we'll see. Anyways, I'm excited for how this is going to turn out. So let's get decorating. Using my pattern, I cut out the stomacher and I cut the top along the fold to make it a bit less see-through and so I'd have a nice finish along the top. I also cut 2 layers for the engageants, and I ended up making one of the layers longer than the other so I could have a bit more fullness. Then I ran a cotton cord through the top to ruffle it, and the first layer I just simply stuck to the tree because this fabric loves to grab onto everything. And for the second layer I tied it to the bottom of the tree sleeve and then fluffed it to my heart's content. And using the same method as these sleeves, I just stuck the stomacher in place. Then I decided I needed to make some fancy trim, and so I did that by gathering up the trim I had every couple inches to make the puffs or gathers, whatever you want to call them, and it was quite easy to do. Now, after doing this a couple times, I decided, you know what, I only needed to do this for the bodice, and so for the rest of it, I let it hang down in a rather pleasing curl. And once that was done, I then repeated it for the other side. With everything slowly coming together, I added some pre-made bows to the engageants, a petticoat ruffle, and some tinsel. And then I started hanging all the Christmas balls. Now for placement, I've always been told to hang them in triangles to make them more pleasing to the eye. And lastly, I added some bows to the stomacher off screen. And now it's time for the reveal. Thank you so much for watching this far. I hope you enjoyed this project. I would love to know if you are going to try your hand at making your own mannequin tree. I will also have a list of everything I used down below if you're interested. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!